Hey friends, Adam here. It's a snowy day in Colorado, and it got me thinking, it's days like this that I often need to grab my traction boards, whether it's slippery or icy, or there's deep snow or sand, or even some mud. It's often my first line of defense to grab my traction boards. But I realized that there's often a challenge I have when I go to grab my traction board, something that makes it a little bit more difficult than I'd like it to be. And so today, I thought we would make it a little bit better and see if we couldn't make a tool to make using my Maxtrax traction boards just a little bit easier. All right, so we're out here at the rig, and I have my traction boards. They're mounted to my ladder here on the camper, and I got these Maxtrax pins, which make it really easy to stick them on and take them off, except one thing. Sometimes these get a little hard to turn, especially when it's cold out. Sometimes they get icy, they get muddy, and so sometimes I have to grab a wrench or something like this one. I'm having a little trouble turning it. And so you could get an Allen key here and loosen this up, but that's more of like a long-term maintenance thing to set the tension. And as weather conditions change and temperature and ice and snow, they can just seize up. Ow. So the pins can be pretty hard to open, especially these ones way up here at the top. And so I thought today maybe we could try and make a tool that would let me, almost like a wrench, fit right on this pin and see if we couldn't release it a little bit more easily when it's a little bit hard to do. So let's get at it. At Bantha Overland, we're on a mission to inspire and enable more people to get outside and experience the fulfillment of overland-based travel. Join us as we share our adventures and tips for finding awesome routes and dispersed camping, make our own DIY gear, and try to find our balance of mixing work and play as we try to spend more of our time traveling, exploring, and connecting. So we're in my office. This is where I do my 3D design and printing, and we're gonna go ahead and start designing the Maxtrax pin key concept. Then we're gonna 3D model it, 3D print it, and then go back outside and test it, see if we think we got a good prototype to take out in the field and try. All right, so ready to design my part, and I like to just start with a pad of paper and a pen. I just like to start real simple and think about what I'm trying to do. And so I have this extra Maxtrax pin here because I've caught these on trees or other objects in the past and bent them, and so I've needed replacements. And so I just started to think about what I'm trying to do, and I think about this almost like a socket for a socket wrench. I want to put something over this so that I can turn one or two of these pins when the Maxtrax are mounted on there. And so I'm just going to start sketching an idea. And so I think I need that big circle for the top, sort of a little circle down here, and it looks like that's a little squared off right in here. And so I think I want to just encase this in like a socket like that, and this will be hollow. And then I need to get some leverage on this, because that's a problem right now. When I try and turn this, I can't really get leverage on these. It's just I need something to get more leverage. And so I'm thinking I'm going to put a handle on here, like this. And so I think it's going to sort of look like that. Now at this point, I normally grab some digital calipers, and I measure in millimeters just because it's a little bit more precise. And I just start measuring some of the sizes of what is going on here. So this one, for example, looks like across it's probably about 15.5 millimeters. I'm gonna say 16 just to have a little tolerance. So I'm gonna make something 16 millimeters across. And then down here at the bottom, I'm gonna measure this width. It's about 9.15, so we'll make that 9.5. And then I'm going to need to know how sort of tall this is. It's 25.69, so we'll make that probably 26. And then I want to know the depth because I want to catch not only this first one but the second one. So roughly something that's about 55, 60. Yeah, so we'll say should be about 50, 55 millimeters deep. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. I think the last thing I want to know is sort of how big of a handle do I want so I can grip this kind of tool. And so often for that, I'll just grab a ruler and sort of look. You know, my hand is probably something about 80 millimeters across would probably be pretty good. So I'll start there. All right, so now that I have some basic measurements and a sketch, I'm gonna go to my design tool and I'm gonna work this up into a 3D model. All right, so we're here in Tinkercad. Tinkercad is a free tool for making 3D models. And I'm not gonna teach you how to use it today. If you're interested in that, let me know and maybe I'll make some videos about that. But I just wanna show you what I worked up here. It took me about 5 minutes to make this. And so this is a V1.0 model of a potential key that I could use, Maxtrax pin key. And so it's sort of like a socket here where it should fit over top of this pin here. And then there's a handle on the bottom so you can sort of get leverage and turn it. And so I'm gonna print this and see if it works. I don't like to spend too much time designing. I like to print something on one of the 3D printers and then try it in the real world and see if it works. I will show you a quick breakdown of how I made this. So Tinkercad is really about taking solid parts and blank parts, you can call that a whole, and combining them in different ways to make new shapes. So if I merge these two shapes, you'll see how the whole sort of carved out the solid there. And in a similar way, if I start ungrouping these parts here, you'll see I made this solid part that basically is the void that comes down and cuts to the key. And I also made a handle here, which is just a rectangle, and then the main body here, which is a couple circles. And then if I actually hide some of these things, so you can really start to see how the void got made. If I just take these apart, you'll see it's 2 circles and a square. And I basically just used the measurements that I wrote down on my sheet, and I made these shapes, and then I combined these shapes, made that a whole, and then I added these other shapes as well based on my measurements and just combined the whole thing till we got something that looked like this. And I'm gonna probably print this in high-vis orange just because I really like that color, so we'll make it orange to remind me. So I'm gonna 3D print it, and then we'll go outside and give it a whirl and see if it's good or if we need to iterate on it more. All right, so the print just finished. I'm gonna grab it out of the printer and we can go try it. So I let this cool down a little bit. But there you go. We got the first Maxtrax pin key, and I'm excited to take this outside and give it a try, see if it works. Let's go. All right, I made pretty quick work of those pins, especially the ones way up high. Let's get this board off and under a tire. All right, so done with the Maxtrax board. I'm gonna put it back on the rack, and then I'm gonna use the Maxtrax pin key to see if it makes locking it back in place easier than before. All right, let's see. So I think it worked really well. It was like butter turning these, just super easy to do right now. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'll certainly take it out in the field, test a little bit more. And I'm curious if you have any ideas to make this better. If you do, drop them below in the comments. I'd love to hear your ideas. So a challenge with a new piece of gear is always, where do you store it? And I think for me, I'm gonna try it here in the driver's door. I have my gloves that I use if I'm doing a recovery or clearing the trail. And I have a little bag here that I have my tire deflators in. And so it just seems like right there is probably a good spot. It's just a nice easy place to put it. And if I need to grab it and quickly grab a traction board, I can just quickly grab it. Probably grab my gloves as well, which would be a good idea. And I'm all set to go. So we'll see. I'm going to take it out in the field. We'll see how it does. We'll see where it lives. But I think it's going to be a pretty useful tool. If that's something that seems useful to you, I'll be making a limited number of them. You can find more information in the link below. I'd also love to learn about any thoughts you have on how to make that a better tool or other needs you have out there in the field. I really enjoy making my gear better or making new gear for myself. It's really fun and it's satisfying, and it just adds to all the things I enjoy about travel, adventure, and meeting folks like you out there. If you found this helpful, please like this video so folks like you can find helpful content like this. And if you're interested to see how this tool performs out in the field and other things that I make to make my gear better, hit the subscribe button. I'll be making videos as part of the Make It Better series and hope to share them with you soon. I hope to see you out there on the trail when you're on one of your adventures. And until then, I'm Adam from Bantha Overland. But I think I found one place that's even better than hiding it away in the door. Check that out. Hanging there in the rear view mirror. Since I have a truck camper, I don't really use that mirror anyway. I can't see anything because my back window is blocked, and so, I don't know, I think that just says like, I'm an off-roader, I overland. Come check out my Maxtraxs. I'll save you.